Your Amazon business is in trouble. It seems like every single month, Amazon finds a new way to squeeze its sellers even more. That could be increased fulfillment fees, more documentation required, and more rules that you have to worry about breaking, because if you do, your entire business can go to zero. So in this video, we're gonna talk about the 3 reasons Amazon sellers fail at Shopify and then what to do about it. So I pioneered the Amazon FBA space like 14 years ago. And so a lot of the top 1% of Amazon sellers started with the program I created, and a lot of the strategies that everyone still uses were built way back then. And so I feel a duty now to help these Amazon sellers who I kind of trained and now they're stuck on the platform, figure out how to get out, because the whole platform and the opportunities have changed. What you want to do today is to build up your own sales channel, your own platform that you can control. And the best way to do that in an e-commerce business is on Shopify, because Shopify is just a software, but it ends up becoming the software that powers your website so that you can build a list of customers that are actually yours. For the first time, maybe, if you've been selling on Amazon, you can email with them, you can SMS with them, you can communicate with them, you can literally send them physical mail if you want to. And your business becomes so much more valuable, so much more predictable, so much more consistent when the core of your business is on a platform that you own and is not owned by somebody else. So let's get into the 3 reasons Amazon sellers fail at Shopify, and more importantly, what you're gonna actually do about them. So the first reason Amazon sellers fail at Shopify is low lifetime customer profit. And so for the sake of space, I'm just gonna abbreviate this LCP. Lifetime customer profit. That is typically low for most Amazon sellers, because how do you win on Amazon? You win on Amazon by, in most cases, selling a product that's somewhere between, say, $15 or $20 up to maybe $100, and then you get your products ranked on Amazon, hopefully organically for keywords, and then a new stream of buyers from Amazon floods in every month for your business. That's a perfectly fine way to build a business in some cases, like early in Amazon. But now where Amazon just owns that platform and it keeps trying to squeeze you from every angle, forcing more ads on the listing for you to pay more for fulfillment fees. And so this game of having to get new customers every single month starts to fall apart. And we see this all the time now. Our Amazon seller loses their ranking and all of a sudden their profits are cut in half. A product gets pulled, which I literally just saw happen to a brand that I'm coaching. They ran into some minor compliance issue on Amazon, and all of a sudden they couldn't send more inventory in for their top product, so their sales basically dropped to nothing. It doesn't matter what size of brand you are. If you're the biggest brand on the planet, such as Coca-Cola or whoever else, the way you win is you get customers to buy more from you. Coca-Cola couldn't have run all these ads for 100+ years if all they ever banked on was selling 1 can of Coke per person. They would have never made it. They had to convince people that over time they should buy more and more and more. This is why building a brand outside of Amazon is so valuable, because you're actually building a brand, not just an Amazon ranking position. And so you want to increase your lifetime customer profit. And there's a few ways to do this. So one option is bundling. And so when you start selling on Shopify, you have a lot more options available to you than you do on Amazon in terms of how you present your product, how you make offers, and that sort of thing. So I have a rule, it's never let a customer buy just one. So this means when you send somebody to a product page or sales page on Shopify, don't settle for them just buying 1 unit. You want them to buy multiple of that product or complementary products. And so in most cases, if you were to look at our product page or landing page for our coffee company, the default option is to buy 3 units. So that's why our average order value other people sell $15 bags of coffee. Our typical coffee price is in the low 20s, but our average order value, the amount customers buy upfront on almost every single order, is about $80. And a big reason is because we bundle. And in our business, it makes sense to bundle multiple units of the same product. In your business, it may make more sense to bundle complementary products. I was once coaching a client that ran a skincare business, and they got better results by, rather than just getting people to buy a whole bunch of one type of product, they would sell like a single unit of like an eye cream, and then like a 2-pack of like an eye cream and a moisturizer, and then a 3-pack of an eye cream, a moisturizer, and a sunscreen. That worked better for them. Just remember the rule, never let a customer buy just one. So one way to do that, to increase your lifetime customer profit, is with bundling. Second option is with upsells. Upsells typically take the form of either a pre-purchase upsell or a post-purchase upsell. A pre-purchase upsell just means if a customer says, yeah, I want to buy 3 units of your product, that before they even start checking out, you say, hey, do you want to buy even more of this product? In our case, our pre-purchase upsell, if somebody says they want to buy 3 bags of coffee, in most cases, we ask them if they want to buy 3 more bags of coffee, which may seem crazy, but you give them a good deal, some customers are going to take it. And so in your case, it could be a complimentary product. There's apps out there that make this extremely easy to do. Zipify one-click upsell and after sell make offering pre-purchase upsells and post-purchase upsells very simple. The default option should always just be 1 more unit of what they're already buying. The second part of this is the post-purchase upsell, which basically means after the person has entered their credit card, that first order is locked in, you make them another offer. Another default option is for your post-purchase upsell, 1 more unit of what they already bought. So in our case, they buy 3 bags of coffee, pre-purchase, we're like, hey, you wanna buy 3 more bags of coffee? They lock in that first order, that order's done, they're just in between there and the thank you page. We ask if they wanna buy 3 more bags of coffee, which may seem crazy, but some people will buy 12 bags of coffee. But you can split test these things, so you start there, but you can test if you think a different product is gonna work better or whatever, it's totally fine. Make sure you have some sort of upselling, because one of the biggest advantages you have in selling on Shopify is you can get people to buy more upfront, pre-purchase and post-purchase, and that's how you win against Amazon, because you're still competing in some cases directly with Amazon through organic Google rankings. Amazon runs their own ads on some of these platforms. So you have to have a way to win when Amazon is gonna convert higher than your own website, because everyone already has a credit card stored with Amazon. Most people don't have a credit card stored with your business. So the way you make up for that conversion rate loss compared to Amazon is by getting customers to buy more upfront, by making customers more valuable to your business. Another option is subscription. Now, this doesn't apply to every business, but if it does apply, definitely use it. And so if you have some sort of consumable product that can be bought on a subscription, either monthly or every quarter or whatever applies to your business, definitely add that. I've been coaching an e-commerce business that does about $30 million a year that sells consumable products. They didn't have subscription enabled on most of their products. I'm like, this is the easiest thing to do, because the easiest way to get customers to buy more to increase your lifetime customer profit is to lock in those sales in advance. It's so much better if customers have to opt out of receiving more of your product, to opt out of being rebilled, as opposed to every month going back, emailing your customers, messaging them, hoping they remember to come buy more from you. If that's happening automatically, that's the best way to go. Last option is, even if you sell a one-time purchase product, getting more money out of that makes sense. So in most cases, that means either charging more for that product or getting a new product that you can charge more for. And so the situation you don't want to be in, which most Amazon sellers are, is selling a one-time purchase product that doesn't cost a lot of money or doesn't make a lot of profit per unit. If you sell a one-time purchase product, it's a non-consumable product, that thing better be expensive. That thing better be at least a couple $100 or so. Otherwise, life is going to be hard. But Yeti, for example, that sells these coolers that I'm pretty sure will last forever, but they're charging $300, $400, $500 for these coolers, high margin. That's how they built a billion-dollar company. You can build your own highly successful company if you either sell subscription, or if subscription doesn't apply, you sell a high margin one-time purchase product, because this allows you to get traffic from all of the platforms other people are advertising on outside of Amazon, such as Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, every other social media platform. It's because you make enough money per customer. So the number one thing that causes Amazon sellers to fail at Shopify is they have a low lifetime customer profit. With just these 2 things, you can improve that no matter what product you sell. Depending on your product, you may want to also add that, and you will eventually for sure want to add one of these 2 things, a subscription product or a high margin one-time purchase product. And that's how you get your lifetime customer profit to be high enough to win outside of Amazon. So the second reason that Amazon sellers fail to scale on Shopify, number 1, low lifetime customer profit. Number 2 is low conversion rate, which I'm going to abbreviate as CVR, but low conversion rate. Like, how do you win on Amazon with a listing? First, you have to get the conversion rate high. How do you get that conversion rate high? If you go to any Amazon events or masterminds or conferences these days, people are nerding out about optimizing every single pixel of their main product image. But then they create an Amazon Shopify page and it looks terrible. It does not have good graphics, does not have good copy, doesn't have a lot of copy, doesn't have a lot of reasons to buy. But here they are on Amazon trying to tweak and optimize every single little tiny variable. You don't necessarily have to go to that extreme on Shopify, but have that same sort of mindset because you're going to be paying in most cases for traffic to come to your Shopify store. You want it to convert as high as possible because with no additional traffic, you'll make extra sales. So you need your conversion rate to be high. And it's not that complicated because if you know how to sell on Amazon, you can figure out how to sell on Shopify. So it comes down first is your hook/headline. So this is the main reason somebody's going to buy your product. And so a lot of times you're going to have, different ideas you think that may cause somebody to buy your product that's never heard of it before. Because the big difference between Amazon and Shopify is Amazon, people are searching for keywords and that's how they find your product. And most traffic outside of Amazon, if you're running Facebook ads, for example, people aren't looking for your product. So you have to have some message that when they see your ad and eventually make it to your page, that makes them want to at least pay attention at first. That starts with a hook or a headline. And I don't really have a big magic answer to pick the best one here. What I do have is a proven process. And so the process is you yourself, plus I recommend if you have team members or even your spouse, anybody who's familiar with your business, write down 10 to 20 ideas that you think would convince a stranger to buy your product. Because you're likely familiar with it, you've likely read hundreds of reviews just by default. Write down 10 to 20 ideas. Then pick your top 5. And those become your starting hooks or headlines, the main reason somebody's going to pay attention on your page and want to buy your product. And you'll eventually test all 5 of them. You can start with your favorite one, but don't ever 100% focus on that one without testing the other ones, because you never know what's really going to work. And so first start with a good hook or headline and put in the work to come up with multiple options there. Next one is core benefits. So this is fairly common, but the biggest thing here, and also we can talk about both of these together, is your features. And so a big mistake when people writing copy for Amazon, but also for outside of Amazon on Shopify, is they speak in generalities. Like, this product is high quality. It's made of the best materials. You need to tell people what makes it high quality. What are the performance measurements? Can it be dropped from 10 feet or 11 feet or 15 feet or 15 and a half feet? What specifically is it made out of? What materials is it made out of? Where does it come from? As much as you're willing to reveal, there's a saying in copywriting that the more facts you tell, the more you sell. You want to include as many benefits and features that are as specific as possible on your Shopify product page, and that's what's going to actually convince people to buy, not general statements. You need to make it as believable as possible, and you do that by being as specific as possible. Next one, which you should know from Amazon, but a lot of people forget when they transition to Shopify, is proof. Amazon, the proof comes from not just being on Amazon itself, but also reviews. Same thing applies to your own website. But with your website, you have a lot of different modalities and control over the amount of proof that you display. So I recommend at minimum having written reviews, star rating reviews, image testimonials, a few video testimonials. So you don't need a bunch because most people aren't going to watch them, but it helps for some proof. If you have any additional influencers that have posted about your product, take screenshots, throw them on your page. If you have any awards or news mentions, take screenshots or just add those to your page in the design. Also, you can take some of your Amazon stats and add them to your website. Now, what do I mean? I mean, if you've sold on Amazon for 7 years, you could say, we've been selling for 7 years. If you've sold 30,000 units on Amazon, you could say we sold 30,000 units. You don't necessarily want to draw the attention over to Amazon, but you want to use those proof elements on your website. You could even say that we have 5,000 5-star reviews, even if all of them are on Amazon. Totally still find a mention. It's 100% true. These are additional proof elements. Then you want a solid offer. So we already talked about increasing lifetime customer profit using bundling, possibly subscriptions, pre-purchase upsells, post-purchase upsells. So use all of that stuff that we've already talked about, but also in your offer, give people a reason to buy now. If you have limited stock, let people know. If this is a special holiday sale, let people know. We can pretty much always say limited stock because we sell physical products. So it's not a digital product. So it's not lying to always say limited stock. Though if you have real scarcity, a sale or promotion that's ending soon, definitely let people know that. And really the last major element to increase conversion rate is some sort of guarantee. So this is where I recommend being, as long as you sell a high quality product, in most cases, the more aggressive guarantee, the better results you're going to get. in terms of the trade-off with additional sales versus higher refunds. So very few people, if you're selling a high quality product, are going to take you up on any sort of like guarantee. It's only people that are super upset or like the tiny percentage of people that just want to take advantage from the beginning. But in most cases, in 99 out of 100 cases, if you're selling a high quality product, offering a very aggressive guarantee that takes the risk from the customer and puts it on your shoulders is going to be in your favor. You're going to get way more sales than you're going to have to pay back in additional refunds. When you want to expand from Amazon to Shopify, you want to make sure that you have all of these components covered on your page and that your page looks good. Like, don't half-ass your page on Shopify. You only need one page, so just start with your one main product. We, with our business with Life Boost selling healthy organic coffee, we had our whole Shopify store set up, but we really just focused all of our attention on one landing page with our primarily one main product for the first year and a half. We didn't even care what our store looked like. So a lot of Amazon sellers think they have to do all this for every page on their Shopify store. Forget the rest of your Shopify store. Just do all this to one landing page or one product page, wherever you want to send traffic to. Put all of your attention on perfecting all of these elements on that one page, and that's going to increase your conversion rate. You're also going to have a higher customer value because you've already done the things we talked about in the first step, and you're well on your way to crushing it on Shopify. So about a decade ago, I had hired a bunch of six-figure executives at my company that was growing very quickly. And then we decided we wanted to try out a new form of advertising, which was radio advertising. But we knew nothing about it. I came from the online world. I'd run every form of online advertising you could imagine. I knew affiliates and all that kind of stuff. But we wanted to try out radio advertising. So this agency that we hired ended up getting us somehow to commit to $1 million radio advertising campaign. I ended up firing the marketing executive, and then I found out that we couldn't actually get out of this campaign. It was basically like we'd have to pay $250,000 or just let it run. So I let it run. In hindsight, should have just paid the $250,000 because we lost way more money. And so there's no shortage of agencies out there who will be more than happy to take your money. So you can outsource stuff all day long. That doesn't mean it's going to work. You can hire the best agencies on the planet, but they may not know all the pieces to make this work. So when you want to transition from Amazon to Shopify, there's really only three things that matter. There's your ads, your funnel, and the product. Your ads are something I recommend you figuring out yourself. And it's not that hard. All you do is look and see what ads other people are running and create more similar ones, figure that machine out, and then eventually you can hand that off to somebody else. The funnel is also not that complicated. You just look at the funnels other brands are running, which you can find ads and funnels just using Facebook ad library, and you start typing in brands. You can find the pages that they're sending people to, and so you don't have to literally design and code those yourself. I recommend somebody else doing that stuff, but you should have an idea of the strategy and the thinking and the general structure behind those pages that turn a stranger into a buyer that wasn't even looking for your product to begin with. And so I recommend you having your hands in that from the beginning, because you really only need one page. And then you test and improve it over time. And then eventually that part you can also hand off to somebody else. Then the last piece is your product, which you already have control over your product. That's a part that I'm sure you're probably not going to give up on for a while. Related to the product on Shopify though, is what happens after somebody buys it. What sort of customer follow-up did you put in place? Because to increase your lifetime customer profit, you don't want just upfront sales. You also want to nurture those customers through email, through SMS, and possibly even postcards. So I recommend at least understanding the strategy behind how all that stuff is set up. You can hire somebody else to write the copy of those emails. You can hire somebody else to manually go set those up in Klaviyo or whatever platform that you're using. But you should understand these three main components because this is a new chunk of your business. No matter how much revenue you're currently doing on Amazon, you can easily double that or more with Shopify. Because whatever products you're selling, there's a huge market out there that you're not tapping into on Shopify. But you need to know these three main pieces and how they function. Your ads, your funnel, and your product and or customer follow-up. And so as long as you have a good understanding of each one of those pieces, and you've kind of managed that process yourself, at least for the first 6 months or so, then you can start turning those over to somebody else. Because just expecting an agency or somebody else or anybody you outsource stuff to magically make that stuff work is very difficult. It'd be like trying to build a basketball team as a coach, having never dribbled a ball before. It helps to know some of these fundamentals, just like how you had to learn Amazon in the beginning. Well, now you can speed that up because you have revenue coming in, you've got profit coming in, so you don't have to spend the next 5 years learning this stuff. But if you spend 6 months learning the fundamentals, then it's going to make your job of outsourcing that to other people or hiring people internally to take it over so much more effective. So once you get to the point and you're ready to have other people do this, what does that team structure look like? It's fairly simple. You have one main person that you can consider be a growth marketer or your chief marketing officer, the person who oversees the strategy, and this could be you, that knows the ads, the funnels, and the customer follow-up. Then you have to have somebody on the ad side. So we have like an internal media buyer that actually is in there running ads and stuff. Then we have somebody else that actually creates the ads. There's editing videos and using Photoshop to create images. So that's the ad side. And then there's the funnel side. So you need copy, design, and development. A design, I recommend that being a separate person than the developer, because usually they're either good at one or the other and they're not exceptional at both. So a designer, developer, those can both be outsourced that are designing your funnels and pages. Copy now, to be honest, like you can just do with AI. So the same growth marketer person can oversee ads and funnels and supplement some copy on the actual pages that you run. That's it. That's the entire team. So this could be a 3 to 5 person team that manage your entire growth part of scaling on Shopify outside of Amazon, but you got to learn the fundamentals first. So if you produce the majority of your sales today on Amazon, it's time to learn how to grow your business outside of Amazon. You can easily double or triple your business when you figure out the game of scaling sales on Shopify with the 3 reasons and steps that we've talked about here in this video. But you have to be willing to roll up your sleeves and kind of go back to a beginner's mind, but the payoff is 100% worth it. So if you're not already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because I'm basically sharing everything that I know that I've learned over the past 17 years of building businesses in terms of how to scale faster and how to remove yourself from 80% of day-to-day operations. I'll see you in the next video.